The residents of a tiny Sudanese town instantly realize that something is awry when a massive crocodile appears nearby. Its tummy is abnormal, and it is moving incredibly slowly. The animal is sliced open to disclose its stomach contents in an effort to rescue it, but no one can believe what's inside until it's shown. In the midst of nowhere, how on earth did the crocodile locate this? Welcome to USA Stories channel. Do not forget to subscribe and activate the bell button to receive all new updates. Now let's go to the story. Michael approached the enormous crocodile gently, his heart pounding in his chest. Though he was aware that he was expected to be the bold one, he was unable to control his nervousness. If he makes one mistake, his story can end here. However, Michael was aware that he needed to act in order to save the animal. The crocodile's stomach was cut open with surgical precision, and its contents were exposed right away. Michael fell to the ground in shock. How could this have happened? Nile crocodiles and muddy waterways are quite common sights. They have spent a long time residing here. The villagers constantly fight to survive against these ferocious creatures as these apex predators search the waterways for their next prey. They try to stay as far apart from one another as they can. Local villagers instill in their children at a young age to avoid the region where crocodiles are most likely to be found. Face-to-face confrontations can only result in bad things, or at least that's what everyone believes. Michael, a 38-year-old man, has spent his whole life in a tiny Sudanese hamlet. He met his future wife and began a family at this location as well. Michael's family owns a modest farm where they grow enough food to feed themselves nearly 3 times over. The community is near the Nile River. The locals think Michael is an incredible guy, but he also has a reputation for being courageous, which is another significant quality in his personality. Not everyone is as aware of this as his family is. Michael's activities were effective most of the time, and the people adored him for it. He was essentially their unofficial leader. That's why they all looked to Michael when this specific scenario came up lately to choose what to do. The little town was near the Nile, but they were not frequently threatened by aquatic creatures like hippopotamuses or crocodiles. They stayed in the river for the most part. The locals were also aware that they should prevent danger by staying far away from specific sections of the river, up till this point. One of these hazardous animals had stepped outside the riverbank today. Since Michael had moved into the community, this had never occurred. There was more to the situation than just the animal emerging from the river, which was obviously problematic. It had put itself in a very awkward situation. There was a major problem when a colossal crocodile emerged from the river, its belly larger than any the residents had ever seen. It settled into the opening the locals had dug to allow water to run down from the Nile into their fields. Their crops were not receiving enough water since the crocodile was obstructing practically all of the water. A group of women were heading to the river to do their laundry. They saw the enormous beast there. After they were stunned, they learned something. They noticed the crocodile was obstructing their water source after getting a closer look. The women looked to Michael right away to come up with a solution. Michael acted right away since there was no time to delay. This enormous animal's arrival here was a miracle. Now that he was up close and personal, Michael could see that this enormous crocodile moved nearly entirely in slow motion. The people spoke about a number of solutions, and one of the more popular ones was to kill the animal and then enlist everyone's assistance in moving it. However, Michael strongly objected to this. Michael was taught the respect of life at an early age. Therefore, he believed that killing this unusually huge crocodile would be a needless waste. Fortunately, Michael knew just who to call about this issue. A guest had been in the city a few weeks prior to talk with them about handling issues pertaining to wild animals. This is really helpful right now. This guy might be able to preserve this enormous crocodile for Michael. The man had attempted to persuade them to refrain from killing huge and uncommon creatures as much as possible, as he was a wildlife conservationist. He advised them to give him a call first if they truly had an issue. So Michael took that action. To get the man's assistance, he called him. Jason, a wildlife conservator from the UK, arrived in Sudan with the mission of saving as many unique animal species as he could. The locals had to take fresh action since they could not wait so long to restore their water supply. The concept of killing the crocodile was resurrected after it was learned that Jason would not be able to reach them in time. Jason screamed and cried out for them to allow the animal to live, even offering to reward them with some more food parcels sent to the hamlet. In the short term, killing this animal would be ideal, but Michael never approached situations that way. Michael has the ability to effectively manage circumstances and consider long-term effects. The locals grudgingly agreed with Michael after some persuasion. But now that they'd made the decision to preserve the animal, there was still a significant question. How? It would take too long for Jason to go to the village in just 2 days. They needed to come up with an alternate plan. He obtained the top gator veterinarian in the United States, awaiting a video call from Michael on the line. They may then show her the animal in this manner, and maybe she might provide them advice on what to do next. In order to provide the veterinarian the finest examination possible, Michael began to move around the animal and record it on camera. The veterinarian was able to rapidly determine what was most likely wrong with the crocodile after giving it a close examination. There was an extremely unusual protrusion in its stomach. The veterinarian deduced that this bulge was probably caused by anything obstructing the crocodile's stomach opening. It's quite likely that the crocodile ingested something it was unable to process. The animal may be really ill as a result of this, which would explain why it was immobile. It was out of energy. However, what was within this crocodile's stomach, and how could Michael and the other villagers deal with this issue? Michael was advised by the veterinarian that extracting this unidentified object from the crocodile was the only chance of saving the animal. To remove the thing, someone would need to delicately cut open the crocodile. Who was going to take on this perilous job? Michael relayed the veterinarian's words to the other villagers. He sensed that all of the village's eyes were on him at once. He could not hold it against them. He knew that none of them would be willing to take this chance. No one else could cut open the crocodile. Michael would have to do it himself. Fortunately, he was able to persuade the other villagers to assist in putting the crocodile under control. This was critical to Michael's security. In order to obtain the required materials, they returned to the hamlet. Going back to the crocodile, the locals began tying it up. Despite the significant procedure, the crocodile seldom fought, which is another proof of its poor health. Michael went to work as soon as he thought it was safe enough. While the veterinarian remained connected via video, a fellow villager recorded Michael so that the doctor could provide him with guidance. Michael was therefore aware of what needed to be done to save the crocodile. Fortunately, the crocodile reacted to this with almost little reaction at all, and Michael just needed to make a shallow incision to locate the obstacle. He was able to reach the stomach's opening after making 2 additional cuts. Immediately, the object lodged in the crocodile was forced out of the opening. Michael found it hard to believe. An old blue football emerged from the crocodile. He had not anticipated this. He couldn't figure out where the crocodile obtained this, as no one in his town had lost a ball. How long had it been obstructing its stomach? Who knows? Some of the locals went to fetch some older fish for the animal to eat so they could coax it out of the stream, while Michael followed the veterinarian's final instructions. The animal was already freed from its restraints when they returned. It was clear that it seemed livelier than it had before the surgery. The crocodile excitedly and gently began to follow the trail of old fish that the people had laid out leading to the river, opening a path for it. The crop was spared because the peasants' plants were given more water. Already on the phone with Jason to share the good news, Michael was assured right away that his community would be getting a ton of additional food and supplies as a token of appreciation for his efforts. Michael relayed the good news to the town, and everyone was ecstatic. Although Michael had put his life at danger for this project, everything turned out for the best. He had solidified his position as their leader, and his community was in much better shape than it had been. The crocodile has returned to its natural habitat and is swimming in the river. Please remember to subscribe to our channel, give us a thumbs up, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any of our videos. If you enjoyed the tale, the next video that plays on your screen will probably move you too.